Christopher in Lyndonville says, what are you going to do with respect to protecting our children against mass shootings? Are you and your colleagues going to listen to our children as they organize and protest on March 24th? We need more than thoughts and prayers. We need gun control laws that reduce the availability of high-capacity weapons. I'm a father of 3 adult children, one who is now a teacher who has to deal with these possible scenarios on a daily basis. And I'll just add one more here, and then I'll let you respond, Senator. Kim says, I need to know with absolute clarity where you stand on gun control, as my research has been murky. Did or would you support Dianne Feinstein's bill to ban automatic assault weapons and tighten regulations on gun accessibility?
The answer is I'm on that bill.
Right. Well, she says she can't see any of Vermont representatives' names on the list of supporters. And while I've emailed you, Leahy, and Welch, I've heard nothing. So
well, I'm not sure why that's so. I am on that legislation to the best of my knowledge, and I just indicated that for 30 years I have been clear that I think assault weapons, no Vermont hunter, I think, thinks that assault weapons are used for killing deer or moose or anything else. This is a weapon designed to kill human beings. So we are going to be supportive of the strongest possible gun control legislation. But let me be very clear. When people talk about why doesn't Congress do something? All right, let us be clear. What you're talking about is the National Rifle Association, which has gone far beyond being a gun organization to a major right-wing political force in this country. So when people talk about the Congress, no, not really. What you're talking about is the Republican leadership. And the kids, I think, in Florida are understanding that. So to answer the questions that have come in, I will do everything that I can. It is literally unspeakable to see, we all saw some of those videos. I can't watch it. I mean, it's just too horrible to watch. And parents, I think, all over this country, they send their kids to school today, and teachers as well are wondering what is going to happen. So on top of real major gun control legislation, we have got to understand that there are thousands of people walking the streets of this country today who are at their wits' end emotionally. Some of them are suicidal. Some of them are homicidal. And on top of everything else, many of those people cannot get the mental health treatment that they need. And then we have my Republican colleagues want to cutting Medicaid by $1 trillion, which is a major source of health care. So we have got to make health care. Calls have come into my office from family members saying, I am worried about a family member, what he'll do to himself or somebody else. We can't find help. So this is another national issue. But we have got to deal with this. Enough is really enough.
Can I ask you, when you talk about assault weapons, in every gun control show I have done over the past 10 plus years, the definitions depend on who's talking about it and how it's being defined in the person's head. And so one person's assault weapon is another person's something else. So are there specific weapons? Are there specific classes?
We have seen, Jane, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but my recollection is the AR-15, for example, which is the civilian manifestation of the AK-15, is obviously an assault weapon. And the weapons that were used in Las Vegas, where this guy was able to not only kill some 58 people, but wound 500 people in a few minutes. If that's not a weapon of mass of destruction of human beings, I don't know what is.
So that's one. Ban the AR-15. But what else? What does an assault weapon mean?
Well, we can look. I am on. If you want the definition of it, I think Senator Feinstein's bill probably has it. I can't rattle it off to you. But in general, these are weapons designed to kill people in a very rapid period of time.
So bump stocks, for example, we've seen President Trump now saying, yes, please craft some.
Is that what he said today? Well, we'll see what he says tomorrow. The president has a habit of changing his mind. That's an obvious one, that you can convert a semi-automatic to an automatic weapon, goes without saying. I mean, I think some of the issues are, as I mentioned, a waiting period.
But California couldn't pass a 10-day waiting period.
I hope and I think that the sentiment in this country is changing. The point that I'm making on all of these issues, if you look at the polling, we're talking about 60, 70% of the American people, including a majority of gun owners. What you're also talking about is the NRA, which is a very, very powerful political organization. So all of this comes down to, will the Congress do what the American people want, not only on gun issues, but on immigration, on tax reform, et cetera, or are they going to bow down to a very powerful special interest?
Well, it's